Archana is reading.
Okay, Rangadhar.
Go ahead.
The Lord sees in his omniscience the thing that has to be done. This seeing is his will. It is a form of creative power, and that which he sees, the all-conscious mother, one with him, takes into her dynamic self and embodies, and executive nature force carries it out as the mechanism of the omnipotent omniscience. But this vision of what is to be, and therefore of what is to be done, arises out of the very being, pours directly out of the consciousness and delight of existence of the Lord spontaneously, like light from the sun. It is not a mortal attempt to see, a difficult arrival at truth of action and motive, or just demand of nature. When the individual soul is entirely at one in its being and knowledge with the Lord and directly in touch with the original Shakti, the transcendent Mother, the supreme will can then arise in us too in the high divine manner as a thing that must be and is achieved by the spontaneous action of nature. There is then no desire, no responsibility, no reaction. All takes place in the peace, calm, light, power of the supporting and enveloping and inhabiting divine.
Very interesting para. So we'll see what is. In this para, you have to know two things. There is a supreme divine, but there is also the individual divine in the physical world at the bottom. At the highest level, the universal, impersonal, and personal divine is there, which is will and is what I want to manifest myself. Okay, that's first. But when it comes down here in the individual divine, he is there everywhere, but he has forgotten the intention. You and I are all the individual divines inside us, okay, covered up with our body, mind, life, and we have forgotten what the divine will is. But the time comes when we feel the need of improving ourselves, and then yoga starts. And more you surrender yourself, and as you surrender yourself to the divine, you make connection with the divine, and your individual will, which is often limited and erroneous, now gets aligned, now gets identified with the Supreme because of the connection. Then in that case, your individual will disappears and you are obeying the divine will, and you come to know what the divine will is, and you are doing that. That's what he's saying in the para. Very interesting way of putting it. We are struggling. The individual divine here, you, me, and everybody else are struggling, and we have an individual will. Okay? But that slowly, as we rise in consciousness, that individual will filters out, because you remember the ego also goes away. The ego goes away, and then slowly, in the beginning, it's a broken connection with the divine. Sometimes you may get the divine intention, but often you may not. But finally, when you are fully surrendered and you are identified with the divine will is obvious to you. At that time, he is doing everything through you. And there is no effort, no responsibility, nothing at all. Okay, that's what he's saying. Very interesting. So we'll go through each sentence. Okay, then we'll summarize the thing. The Lord sees in his omniscience the thing that has to be done. This Lord is the Supreme Lord who is infinite, eternal, and he is also personal and impersonal at the same time. Okay, he is seeing what has to be done in the universe. Okay? When there is no universe, there is nothing to be done. But when the universe is there and there is an evolution going on, he has to guide the evolution, and he knows what has to be done. Now, interesting, at the highest level, he knows fully well what is to be done. But that intention also, when it comes down, remember the law of diminution and distortion, okay, it gets diluted. And therefore, there are many choices. At the highest level, there is no choice. There is only the divine will, he knows what to do. But at the lower level, all of us are the individual divines, and we have got lost in the forest of the dualities. Okay, we are lost in the forest of duality, and we have to exercise our individual will. So this is the Lord at the highest level. Okay, and he is seeing everything that has been done. This seeing is his will. Now it's interesting that seeing, normally in seeing there is no will. But in his case, the seeing is the will. Okay? At our level, there's a will, and what we see is often not the same at all. What we see is not the same. Okay? Is his seeing and will is the same. It is a form of creative power. Now note, interestingly, creative power. Power can also be non-creative. It can be static. Okay? It can be static. The power can be static. But it is creative. Creative power means in the physical world, okay, the universe. And that which he sees, the all-conscious mother, one with him at the highest level, one with him at the highest level. At the lowest level also they are one, but hiding from each other. Okay, that's the interesting thing. At the lowest level, matter becomes and mother, she has become the matter, but she has lost contact with the supreme will. And there is a slow evolution. Okay? In that evolution, the Divine Mother is slowly getting back. Who is the Divine Mother? Prakriti. At the individual level, if you understand, then it is very clear. Okay? Your Prakriti, your body, mind, life, does not see the divine, nor understand the divine. But as you grow in consciousness, slowly, your mind will open up to the divine. Then if you're lucky, even the body will open up to the divine. And finally, even the body will open up to the divine when the supramental race comes into existence. Okay? So, this is what he's saying. It's a form of creative power. And that which he sees, the all-conscious mother. Note the word all-conscious and mother M-cap. This is the divine Shakti. Okay? Para Prakriti is fully conscious. At the lower level, this universal mother becomes Prakriti, unconscious and mechanical. Okay, but here at the highest level, all conscious. One with him takes into her dynamic self. The dynamic self is below. Okay, it is there also up, but without movement. Okay, so dynamic self and embodies an executive nature force. Executive nature force is the Divine Mother at the lowest level, become only force, okay, without the consciousness. Carries it out as a mechanism of their omnipotent omniscience. Now note, there, now that means both mother and father, okay, Shakti, consciousness and Shakti, both, their omnipotent omniscience. All omnipotent refers to mother, omniscience refers to the Lord. Okay, so they become one. So therefore, then omniscience is also omnipotent. Interestingly, note that when the individual divine, individual human being, individual soul goes to the self, okay, there is no omnipotence. The omnipotence comes at the highest level. Okay, you have got omniscience may not be there, but a lot of knowledge is there at the middle level of the witness self, the Brahman consciousness. But there is no power. Power is there, but it is held back. Okay. So at the highest level, omnipotent omniscience. But this vision of what is to be and therefore of what is to be done arises out of the very being, the very substance of the divine. Pours it directly out of the consciousness and delight of existence of the Lord, spontaneously, like light from the sun. At our level, when we have a will, it is not spontaneous at all. It has to be thought out and executed. But from there is no thought. It automatically knows what to do. Light is coming out from the sun naturally. Okay? The sun doesn't need to think that I have to send light to the universe. No, it comes automatically. This is because there is identity of Chit, Shakti, Ananda, and Sat. There is an identity. They are all one. That's why light from the sun. It is not our mortal attempt to see. He is contrasting our mortal attempt to see, our difficult arrival at truth of action and motive, or just demand of nature. It is not all these things. It's not the same. When the individual soul is entirely at one in its being and knowledge with the Lord, and directly in touch with the original Shakti, the transcendent mother, the supreme will can then arise in us too, in the high divine manner, as a thing that must be and is achieved by the spontaneous action of nature. This is exactly what we discussed before we started the chapter, the paragraph, that we identify yourself. And now your individual will has submitted to the, and it becomes the divine will. So your individual will disappears and the divine will is acting through you. Okay. These are very similar to the story of the Kutsa. Kutsa is very interesting. The word Kutsa also is full of defects and small. Okay. So Kutsa is the individual and he is traveling in the same carriage with Indra. And they are going to heaven. And when they go to heaven, the resemblance between Kutsa and Indra has become so similar that no one can make out the difference. This is exactly what is being said here also in different words. Okay? Your individual consciousness becomes a universal consciousness. You become the divine actually at the highest level. Okay, so this is a way of saying. When the individual soul is entirely at one in its being and knowledge with the Lord, completely identified with the Lord, and directly in touch with the original Shakti. So sometimes the individual soul can go only towards the Lord and not the original Shakti. But those who go towards worship the Divine Mother, they will experience the divine original Shakti. Okay? It's interesting. The Tantrics, for instance, they go through the Shakti aspect. And the Jnana Yogi goes through the Chit aspect. Okay, it depends on the path. But if you combine them, like in the integral yoga, you will be in touch with both at the highest level, not at the lower level. Okay, with the Lord and directly in touch with the Hariyan Shakti, the transcendent mother. Now again, the transcendent, that means at the highest level, and mother, M cap, that means Shakti, okay, the para Prakriti, the divine mother. The Mahamaya, you can also say. The Maya at the lower end is the divine mother who has forgotten that she is part of the divine. But at the, and who is that? Nature. Okay. But at the highest level, she is Mahamaya. She is the one who is creating with her knowledge.
Rangada, one question.
Yes.
Those who go, like you said, the tantric, they go through the mother. So they have the power, no? Then they achieve power earlier?
Yes, I think so. In the physical world also, when they get powers which the Jnani may not get. Yes, they do have. In fact, that sometimes these tantrics are misusing their power. No?
Yes.
That happens. That then they fall. If you misuse your power, they fall. It's interesting what you're asking, because I'll tell you, this our Sadguru, we have all heard about him, na? Sadguru.
Yes.
He had a very interesting experience, he says. Because he went through the consciousness aspect. He was sitting on the hill in Mysore, okay, the Chamundi hill, and he had the experience of this witness self. But he was also having Ananda, strangely enough. But he was not so concerned about the power. But what happened one day, he was in a garden. He had a big garden, okay, and he saw some mangoes hanging. I think I told you. He saw some mangoes hanging, and he said, if one mango falls, it'll be nice. We can have it. And that mango fell. So he said, hey, that's very strange. When I asked for it, it fell. Let me see if another one falls. Then he said, okay, I want that other mango to fall. And it fell. Then he realized that he has the power also. Okay. So it can happen that you have both. Ultimately, you will have both. You will have consciousness as well as power. But in the middle stages, it can be either this or that. Okay. And definitely at the Brahmic consciousness, the witness self, okay, the Atman, you don't have the power so much. As you keep climbing, as the Gita says, you become the Anumanta, the Bhokta, the Bharta, and finally the Ishvara, you get power. The power goes on also increasing as you keep going higher and higher. At the Brahmic level, You can't say that there is absolutely no power at all. It is there. And each individual will experience it in a different way. Okay? Okay,
No,
we come
because
back.
some yogis,
Rangata,
with ash they create something. So that is a sort of a power, no?
Yes, absolutely. But that power is vital, and that power can be
Okay.
there at a very low level also. Even at the vital level, it is there. Remember the stone throwing in the ashram, and also remember the Sai Baba producing ashes
Yes.
and gold
Yes.
rings. Okay,
Hmm.
it is a vital power. That power, it is there, but we don't use it. We don't know how to use it. But they know how to use it. Archanari was saying something.
yes, Rangata, actually, you just answered the question I was asking. I was just asking that these powers could be vital. And the tantrics also, the so-called tantrics, often use their vital power, don't they? That I mean, like
That's right.
that's exactly what I just said about the vital before I could ask.
And this power is there everywhere in the universe. When the river is flowing, it is power. When the lightning is falling, it is power. When the sun is shining, it is power. Only we don't know how to use it. But now science knows how to use this power in the universe everywhere by photovoltaic cells and by solar dishes. So now we know how to use that power. But the difference between a tantric and a scientist is that the scientist is using instruments for tapping that power. Okay. But the tantric does not use any instruments. He only uses his own vital instrument. That's a direct healing. That's the only difference. But the power is there everywhere in the universe. Everything. The tree is growing, it is power. The river is flowing, it is power. That storm which we avoided has gone now to Andhra. Okay, so power is
But
there.
that is unconscious power, no? That is unconscious power.
Yes, that's right. That's right. At the highest level, it becomes that. That's exactly what we mean by the Shakti at the highest level is one with the consciousness, and at the lowest level, it becomes mechanical, unconscious power.
Then
And
Rangada,
yes, tell me.
then this power, those who use it will remain only up to this life, mean this one life. Whereas Sri Aurobindo,
Not necessarily. It depends on the individual soul, what he wants. No?
because like Mother and Sri Aurobindo's powers, it is with every life it is an improvement in that in this power, their consciousness being.
Yes.
Where here this type of power, once they use, you limitize yourself.
Not necessarily. If you are using in a limited egoistic manner for your own desires, then there will be a fall. Okay, definitely there will be a fall. But if you are using, for instance, you are using for curing others, like Mother was doing, okay, and she is giving power to others also to get them to a higher level of consciousness. That is the right use of power. In
But
fact,
that is not vital power, no, Rangada.
no, at the lowest level, it is physical power in the atom. At the vital level, it is vital power. At the mental level, it is mental power. When you have knowledge, intelligence is mental power. Then there is spiritual power, and there is finally the supermental power. So power
No,
is
so what Mother used was a superior spiritual power, not the vital power.
absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. In fact, in one case, someone asked him, "Sir, you did this work. What you use supermental power?" Shabda said, "Certainly not. I use much lower power. I use spiritual power." Okay. So it depends. You can use all this power is there everywhere at a higher level, but it depends. As I said, Sai Baba is using vital power. Okay. Those who
But
are
if he's using to cure people, does it make it spiritual or it stays vital?
that is a very interesting question, but I am not sure. Can you use vital power to cure others? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know.
Rangada, I can't give the reference right now, but I think it is the letters of yoga where Sherwin says even in the vital worlds there are powers
Yeah.
which can be used by people for good or bad depending on your.
So
But
yeah.
and
If
he
it,
talks of this curing power. I particularly remember because it was concerning like my field. So
yes.
at a very in the vital stage also you can like Shraddha explains also in other places that there are vital powers which we don't know how to use. So if we
Yes.
can learn to use it, it is like I can say even physical power. No, somebody is stronger than other. He can use it to save somebody. He can use it to kill somebody. But that doesn't make the physical power the spiritual power.
Archana,
I
while
mean, my understanding I'm sharing.
no, absolutely. And while talking to you, suddenly I realized, okay, those who are using pranic healing, okay, they're using vital power.
Exactly. That is vital power. That is vital power.
Exactly.
Yes, Ragada. Exactly. Exactly.
Pranic power, okay.
Spiritual power actually depends on the state of my consciousness, isn't it,
Absolutely.
Ragada?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So the one who is doing pranic healing, Reiki, they call it Reiki, Reiki. So that they are using vital power. Okay. In fact, sometimes many people from their hands, the energy goes out. You know, there's an aura, na? And when the energy goes out, people who are conscious that the energy is going from their fingers can cure people. Okay. So it's very interesting. Everybody has got that power, but we don't know how to use it. All right, let's get back to our text. Yeah.
Rangada,
Yeah, tell
I
me.
my question is,
Yes.
here Sri Aurobindo say, the identity with the Lord
Yes.
and the direct touch with the original Shakti.
Yeah.
So, which usually to the sadhaka, which which what is the I mean, which comes first? Do they attempt identity with the Lord for the direct touch with the original Shakti, or the other way around?
Okay. But that depends, Sumki, on the individual, na? In
Mm,
which way he is leaning towards. If he is leaning towards Chit, then the consciousness will come first. And if you are leaning more towards the power, it depends on the individual soul. Na?
mm,
The individual, again, we come back to the idea of Swabhava. Okay. How each soul has got a different nature.
mm.
Yeah. So it depends on
But
the individual. Yeah.
Mm. But in integral yoga, and I often heard from the people in the ashram,
Yeah.
you must refer to and turn to the Divine Mother for everything.
Yes.
So is it like the more recommended way is turn to the Mother first, rather than pursuing identity with the Lord? Is that the recommended way by Sri Aurobindo or by the Mother? Can you say like that?
In the interior yoga, Sriranda has recommended, first of all, the surrender to the mother. Okay.
Mhm.
But that does not mean that first power will come to you. Because the mother is, after all, she has got consciousness also. So, very often, those who are doing the interior yoga, in fact, I know of two cases, okay, where they entered the self, but they never showed any signs of power. One was a very close friend of mine. Okay? So, they achieved the Brahmic consciousness. So they are followers of Sri Aurobindo, and you adore the mother and you also surrender to her, but you may get knowledge also first. After all, in fact, there is a very interesting Sanskrit book which I read 4 or 5 years ago, Tripura Rahasyam. Okay, that is the name of the book. There they are insisting all the time that go through the mother for knowledge. Don't worship her. She will give you everything that you want. So knowledge also, if you ask the mother for knowledge, suppose you are surrendering to the mother and asking. For instance, take Ramakrishna. Okay, he was also going only through the mother. Okay, and he got knowledge. The power came later on. Okay,
Mhm.
he had knowledge. So it's a question. We make a big difference between knowledge and power and all these things and Shakti, but they are all one essentially. Some can be more, some can be less. Okay, so
Okay.
And
Thank you.
in a way, we can say it is mainly our Swabha decides, our Swabha and Swadharma decides which, I mean, what will work through us, what will channelize through us, the knowledge or the
yes,
um,
yes.
Once we
In fact,
attain the consciousness, then our desire is no longer there. I want nothing. It should be at least.
that's
So
right.
once I don't want anything, naturally
Yes, that's right.
I become a channel of ever given a identity by the divine, so to say. That
Yes.
is what is my swabhava and my swadharma. According to that, I think I'll manifest whatever is for what I have come rather.
Yes, yes. And in fact, people used to ask Sri Aurobindo, should I concentrate in the mind at the eyebrow center or should I concentrate in the heart? So Sri Aurobindo said, it depends on you and which your nature is more open to what. You can do any. And if you can do both together, wonderful. Okay, so it depends on the individual. After all, remember that the one becomes the multiplicity at the lowest level. So each individual is a different make and a different build, different nature. It depends. There's nothing rigidly fixed about all these things. Although for clarity's sake in the mind, we have to make a distinction between these things, but there's a great play of possibilities. Okay? Tremendous possibilities are there. Everything is possible. Okay, let's get back to our text. Okay. I don't mind these discussions at all because they do help to clarify things. Even when I am speaking also, I get, oh, I didn't think of this, I didn't think of that. So all sorts of, the connections also can come. It becomes very interesting. And clarity also comes through these discussions. Okay, so I go back to when the individual soul is entirely at one in its being and knowledge. Okay, now note the word being. Okay, being means the very substance of your body. Okay, it's very interesting. The substance of your body, then knowledge also with the Lord and directly in touch with the original Shakti, the transcendent mother, the supreme will can then arise in us too, in the high divine manner, as a thing that must be and is achieved by the spontaneous action of nature. The spontaneous action of nature is the power at a lower level, okay, mechanical, unconscious, and then spontaneously it comes out. Now, I'll make a small a diversion here because this is exactly what we are discussing, so it's very interesting. Today I got a WhatsApp message from, there is an American lady, okay, she is a wonderful person. And she has a great opening to the mother. So she has said something very interesting today. Mother says in one place in the agenda that when Sri Aurobindo passed away, I realized the entire divine. Okay. So this girl is asking the mother, Mother, I don't understand what you mean by that. When before Sri Aurobindo passed away, you didn't get the entire divine? So then she explains. Okay. She says that when the light descends into the mind, you understand the divine in a mental way. When the light descends and you are sufficiently pure, it can descend even lower into your vital. Then you understand the divine in the emotional and the vital way. You can understand. When it descends into the body, the very cells of the body will recognize the divine. Okay? So there is this gradation. Okay? So this is exactly what is also being said here. Exactly the same. Now imagine mother was doing that at that level. Okay? It was not a question of recognizing the divine or not experience, but the total, at the physical level, each cell is aspiring. I mean, it's unbelievable what work mother has done. Absolutely unbelievable. It's not a mental recognition of the divine. It's not a vital recognition of the divine. It's the very cells of the body have become conscious and they are aspiring for the divine. Okay, it's fantastic. So we come back to our text. So when you identify yourself fully, there is then no desire, no responsibility, no reaction. All takes place in the peace, calm, light, power of the supporting and enveloping and inhabiting divine. Now tell me, we have to interpret these words. I pay a lot of attention to that. Supporting, enveloping, inhabiting. Supporting, transcendent. From there it is supporting you. Enveloping cosmos, it is there everywhere. And inhabiting individual. See? So when we read Srila carefully, you can see how he uses words and what he means. Okay, so supporting from the highest level, like your parents are supporting you. Okay, just like that. Enveloping, it is there in the universe everywhere. Okay, what is it called? Pantheism. Pantheism is the worship of the divine in nature. Okay, it's there everywhere, and you recognize the divine in the nature, and inhabiting the individual divine in each soul. Okay. So see how interesting this is. Then you do. Once you have seen this, next time also the same with words when they use, immediately it will flash on. Okay, so 32. So we have got 8 minutes. So we can read the next paragraph. This was small paragraph. Who will read the next one? But even before that highest approach. Pallavi, if you have the text, you can read.
Yes,
Tuesday.
Rangana.
Tuesday is your day.
Shall I read?
Yeah, please. But
even before that highest approach to identity is achieved, something of the supreme will can manifest in us as an imperative impulsion, a God-driven action. We then act by a spontaneous self-determining force, but a fuller knowledge of meaning and aim. An aim arises only afterwards. Or the impulse to action may come as an inspiration or invitation, but rather in the heart and body than in the mind. Here, an effective sight enters in, but the complete and exact knowledge is still deferred and comes, if at all, later. But the divine will may descend too as a luminous single command, or a total perception, or a continuous current of perception of what is to be done into the will or into the thought, or as a direction from above, spontaneously fulfilled by the lower members. When the yoga is imperfect, only some actions can be done in this way, or else a general action may so proceed, but only during periods of exaltation and illumination. When the yoga is perfect, all action becomes of this character. We may indeed distinguish 3 stages of a growing progress, by which first the personal will is occasionally or frequently enlightened, or moved by a supreme will or conscious force beyond it, then constantly replaced, and last identified and merged in that divine power action. The first is the stage when we are still governed by the intellect, heart, and senses. These have to seek or wait for the divine inspiration and guidance, and do not always find or receive it. The second is the stage when human intelligence is more and more replaced by a high illumined or intuitive spiritualized mind, the external human heart by the inner psychic heart, the senses by a purified selfless vital force. The third is the stage when we rise even above spiritualized mind to the supramental levels.
okay, so we don't have, so we can do this next time, but I'll read out the summary. We have got 5 minutes, so we'll read out the summary. Okay. But now, this we were talking of plasticity and not rigidity and all. So these planes of consciousness are all involved in each other. Huh? They are not absolutely like a staircase. They are more like a ramp. Okay, each one goes into like the rainbow colors. You see all the rainbow colors, but they also run into each other. It's like that. So this is what we are now saying in this paragraph. But even before the highest levels are reached, some impulses from the supreme will can enter and influence and even seize us. Man then acts spontaneously by an automatic force, but the real knowledge and means and aims can come only later. You may not be fully knowledgeable of what is being done, but so you do, sometimes the command comes and then you do it without the knowledge also. This impulsion can come as an inspiration. The Shraddha uses the word inspiration for a command, okay? The divine, hearing, okay? Shruti. Or it can come as an intuition. An intuition is like a drop of light that comes into you without the process of thought, okay? Just a certain revelation, okay? But there's no thinking. It comes by itself just like a drop of light. More in the heart and body rather than in the mind. The inspiration and intuition. Here too, the executive sight manifests in us, but all the full knowledge comes later, if at all. Another possibility is that the divine will can enter in us as a luminous single command, or a total perception, or a continuous current of perception of what needs to be done. Interesting, he's saying it can come in so many different ways. Okay, so this reminds me also of Ramakrishna. I'll tell you about that later on. As soon as so it can come in a single, luminous single command. The best example of this is Srimno hearing Sri Krishna's voice. Go to Chandranagar. Finish, that's all. A single command. So he does that immediately. He packs up and goes. Go to Pondicherry, second time. So this is a single luminous command. Or it can be a total perception, or a total perception. Oh, this is what I have to do. This is my destiny. Not very clear perhaps, but it is a total command. Or a continuous current of perception. You are actually being guided by a continuous current. All these possibilities are there depending on the individual of what needs to be done. This direct command enters the individual will and thought and gets executed spontaneously by the body, life and mind. The example is Sridhar's command, go to Pondicherry. But when the yoga is still young, not very mature, only a few actions can be of this nature, which is a direct command or an automatic execution. So that comes only much later. In the beginning, it can't come as a single command. But in some moments of intense, elevated consciousness, this type of action is possible. In other words, it's an experience. On the other hand, when the yoga becomes perfect, all action is done in this way, a direct order and a directly executed action. The progress of the yoga can be said to have 3 stages. The first stage is when we are still in the ignorance and controlled by the body, life, mind, which is the outer nature. Okay. The second stage is when the spiritual knowledge replaces the mental ignorance. This is in the spiritual planes of consciousness, level 2. Okay. This is the second. The third level is when the supramental is reached and we get power also. So this is what Sridhar is saying about it. It's 8:40, so we just got correct time. If you want, we will read this para, because again the words are very interesting. Once we identify the words, then it becomes very easy to read Sridhar in other passages also. That's why there's so much of stress. Just as I said, we saw today that support, okay, enveloping and inhabiting. So immediately you know what he's saying. Okay.
Rangada?
Yeah.
Rangada? Just one last question. Then the Arjuna in the Gita, he kind of throughout the Gita, he moves from the first and the second stage. Can you say like that?
I don't think Arjuna was a spiritual person at all. Okay, but Sri Krishna gives him the command, and that's the first stage. Yeah? So he does what has to be done. But he also asks that I want to see you, and then Sri Krishna gives him the divine eye. Okay, Divya Chakshu. But after that vision of the Kala, the supreme that does everything in the physical world, that power again disappears for him. So it's an experience. That is level 2. But there are no level 3 for him. But Arjuna, obeying the command of Sri Krishna, knowing mentally that yes, this I have to do, is probably level 1 only. But he did rise to the level 2 when he had the experience of he saw the divine creating and destroying. Okay, that was the experience. But that was because Sri Krishna gave him the Divya Chakshu, that is the divine eye. So it's a capacity which is given to you, and you have to develop that. Then later on, the capacity is taken away because you are not yet fully ready for it. Then you have to do it. So that was definitely this second level.
Rangada,
Yeah,
that means a vibhuti needn't be in the second level, right?
could be, yes. Could be. For instance, take
Not necessarily be. My question is the other way around. It
exactly.
need not necessarily be in the second stage, right?
Exactly. Exactly. You take Napoleon. He was a vibhuti.
Yes, exactly. That was just my question, and you answered. That's like
Exactly.
Napoleon and other he has mentioned. Okay.
He was a vibhuti, but he certainly was not a spiritual man.
Yes.
Okay. Au revoir, everybody.
Bonjour.
Thank you, Rangada.